I don't know. When I stopped programming, like SQL injection attacks were kind of the big threat. It's gotten a lot worse. John's going to tell us a little more in this not so critical update.
God, oh, you know what I forgot to do is I forgot to brush up on this. So yeah, basically 14 new cross-site leak attacks are affecting all modern web browsers. And this is pretty scary stuff because from what I could tell, like no one is spared in the list of browsers where this is possible. And I don't, if I recall correctly, this might be fairly difficult to patch, but I'm a little bit caught off guard here. So what do you guys think?
I guess my question reading through this is, are these as a consequence of like the evolution of browsers, new attacks, or are they just threats that have always existed that researchers have just become aware of? Do we have a sense of that?
Well, technically, these kind of attacks have always been possible because it's really about storing data on a site and it kind of propagating across other places, and then the browser reusing that data.
Right.
But they're quite hard and they're unusual because usually exploits like this or vulnerabilities like this are specific to browsers or a site where that thing is happening. But this is more about the way that things are happening that has a fundamental flaw, if you know what I mean.
But is it a new flaw, or is it a flaw that's kind of always been there? Like this version
It's a technique. Yeah. So this is it's abusing something which is meant to prevent this kind of thing to happening. It uses a thing called the same origin policy, yeah. I'm a bit like John here. I'm not fully up to speed, but I knew a bit more than he did this time.
But thank you. What we should mention is how it inherently affects all browsers, including Tor, which I found to be kind of alarming. I know that. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
It's a bit like an encryption method having a flaw in it.
Right.
So if there's a type of encryption which is had a lot of research done on it and is accepted to be super secure, and then years down the road somebody finds a flaw in the algorithm, some way to take advantage of it, because it's been established and it's commonly used across all sorts of different platforms, all sorts of different browsers. They're all affected. The similar thing happened a while ago with a library called OpenSSL. And OpenSSL is just a way of encrypting communication using secure socket layer, which is SSL. And OpenSSL was so commonly used, literally everything used it. There was no real alternative. It was just the de facto library for encrypting communications. And it itself is not it does the encryption, but it doesn't specify the encryption algorithms. You could use any kind of whatever. But someone finally audited it, and they found a ton of security holes in it. Really bad.
Decade plus old security issues, right?
Yeah, because it was a really complicated code base, and these kind of flaws are so difficult to detect. I don't think it's the same case in this particular story, by the way, but these kind of things are so difficult to find, and it's like it's been reviewed a lot and used massively, and it's the kind of thing where you think, well, how did nobody see this before? But sometimes there are reasons. So yeah, they're very uncommon, which makes them very interesting. There was another one recently, which let me tell you about, which was about this was a cross-browser tracking issue that was detected or found by a company called Fingerprint.js, who do browser fingerprinting as an actual service for fraud prevention. But anyway, they're actually very cool, and they release a lot of really interesting information. And this thing they found is that based on the plugins that you have installed in your browser, you can fingerprint an end user client across different browsers. So you could log into my site and you've got the Skype plugin installed and I can fingerprint you. And then you log in with Firefox and I know you're the same person, despite you using completely different, you could use a different IP. You could be connected to a VPN and I would still know it's you in a different browser. And that kind of like, that goes against all the usual security advice. Use a different browser, use whatever. But I still know it's you because of the browser plugin API, which is leaking the data, which allows me to fingerprint you. And these kind of things are very cool, and I get quite excited about them. So sorry for rabbiting on.
I think that was my concern about whether it's a new leak or not, because they talk about it releasing personal information. And as a marketer, I was concerned that there had been a way to get more personal information that I wasn't aware of. And I really just want to make sure that I'm on top of these kinds of things. John, or I'm sorry, Peter, who does that fingerprinting service? Is there a vendor site for that that I can look up? I might have a lead for that.
No, but actually, I am very interested. I am very interested in this fraud prevention service. Did you say it's fingerprinting JS?
Fingerprintjs.com. They're very clever people, and they have a library called Fingerprint.js, and it does the kind of standard browser fingerprinting stuff.
Right.
And it's all for fraud prevention. The one legit usage of browser fingerprinting I could think of. Anyway, shout out to Fingerprint.js.
Yeah,
don't like what you do, but I like what you do.